Investigation and decoding. In the summer of 1944, as Allied forces broke out of Normandy, German generals clung to a familiar conviction. They believed General Patton's rapidly advancing Third Army would soon grind to a halt, starved of fuel and ammunition. This assumption was based on their own experiences on the Eastern Front, where logistical nightmares had consistently crippled their campaigns. They critically underestimated America's logistical prowess, failing to comprehend that the US was about to unleash a weapon they hadn't anticipated: the truck. In response to the looming supply crisis, the Allies launched the Red Ball Express, a daring and unprecedented logistical operation. From August 25th to November 16th, 1944, a massive truck convoy system was established to bridge the gap between the Normandy beaches and the front lines. Nearly 6,000 trucks, operating around the clock, ferried an average of 12,500 tons of supplies daily. Special one-way road networks, marked with red ball signs, were cordoned off for their exclusive use, transforming French highways into the lifeblood of the Allied advance. This relentless stream of materiel allowed Patton's Third Army to maintain its blitzkrieg-like pace, an operational tempo that stunned the German high command. The seemingly endless supply line fueled the rapid liberation of Paris and propelled Allied forces to the German border far ahead of schedule. The speed of the advance was a direct consequence of this logistical miracle, demonstrating that the ability to supply an army was just as crucial as the army's ability to fight. Patton's tanks ran on gasoline delivered by the Red Ball, his guns fired shells hauled by the Red Ball, and his soldiers ate rations brought by the Red Ball. The entire operation was a direct contradiction of established German military doctrine. Where Wehrmacht principles emphasized concealment, conservation, and strict procedural adherence, the Red Ball Express prioritized sheer volume, redundancy, and battlefield improvisation. Convoys drove with headlights blazing through the night, a blatant disregard for concealment that signaled overwhelming confidence. The Germans, accustomed to painstaking efforts to hide their supply movements, could only watch in awe and disbelief at this open display of industrial might. The backbone of this incredible operation was its drivers. Approximately 75% of the 23,000 personnel who drove and serviced the trucks were African American soldiers. Facing racial segregation and discrimination within their own military, these men performed superhuman feats of endurance and skill. They drove for days on end with little sleep, often under the threat of enemy fire and mechanical failure, keeping the vital supplies flowing. Their immense contribution not only ensured the success of the Allied advance, but also played a significant role in challenging racial policies, contributing to the eventual desegregation of the US Armed Forces in 1948. This logistical dominance was a direct result of America's colossal industrial scale. While Germany struggled to replace its losses, the US mass-produced trucks, tires, and spare parts at a staggering rate. If a truck broke down, it was often simpler to replace it than to repair it. This industrial capacity fostered constant innovation on the move, including mobile maintenance units that performed repairs in the field and the ingenious Operation Pluto, which laid undersea pipelines to pump fuel directly from Britain to France. The psychological impact on the German forces was profound. The constant rumble of truck engines and the sight of endless convoys, their headlights cutting through the darkness, became a symbol of America's seemingly limitless resources. It fostered a sense of hopelessness, chipping away at German morale as they realized they were not just fighting an army, but an entire industrialized nation that could project its manufacturing power directly onto the battlefield. The Red Ball Express fundamentally proved that in modern warfare, logistics are not just a supporting element, but a strategic weapon. It demonstrated that industrial capacity, personified by the humble 2.5-ton truck, could be more decisive for achieving victory than tactical brilliance or ideological fervor. The ability to sustain a high-tempo offensive across hundreds of miles was the ultimate expression of military power. After the war, the lessons learned were not forgotten. Veterans of the Red Ball Express brought their invaluable experience back to the United States, helping to shape the foundations of modern American logistics, both in the military and in the private sector. The methods of mass transport, continuous resupply, and logistical improvisation pioneered on the roads of France revolutionized military thinking worldwide, becoming the new standard for expeditionary warfare. In the end, captured German generals admitted their defeat was sealed not by a superior tank or a more cunning general, but by the American logistical system. They acknowledged that they were overwhelmed by a torrent of supplies delivered by trucks. The United States had effectively militarized its entire societal production capacity, turning its factories and assembly lines into the ultimate instrument of war, and the Red Ball Express was its sharpest edge. Decoding and reorganization.